Hi, my name is Ralph Thompson. I own the Russell-Zuhl Company. For 29 years, we've went out to Oregon, Washington, Arizona, and sourced raw petrified wood logs, bring them back. We developed the technique for cutting and polishing, and we have dealt with some of the largest and most beautiful petrified wood pieces. This is a Sequoia tree from Central Oregon. It was a living tree 38 million years ago. The Northwest wood, Oregon and Washington, petrified in such a way that you could really see the annual rings. You can actually count them. You can see fungal decay on certain parts. It's a very warm piece. It adds a warmth to your house, and I've had pieces like this in several of them in museums in the United States and throughout Europe. This piece is 65 inches wide. I found the tree, a trunk of a tree. We got about a 6-foot trunk of the thing and sliced it up, and this is one of the slices from it. Now, Oregon wood, which tends to be the sequoia and oak and spruce, there's a certain area in Arizona that produces this very warm colored wood. This is about the largest of this. This is called Navajo wood, and it's found about 50 miles east of the petrified forest. And again, it was a living tree. It grew 218 million years ago, and takes a real nice polish. You can kind of see the heart, and it's just a very warm, wonderful piece. And then, in contrast to this, which is kind of called the Navajo wood, Arizona is really known for what they call a rainbow wood, which has the reds and yellows and blues in it. So this is actually the largest piece of Arizona that's ever been cut and polished. You can see this one is very nice texture. It really takes a hard polish, a fine polish on the thing. It has a nice heart, and it has the reds and the blues and whatnot that's so typical of the Arizona. Again, 218 million years old. This was a pine tree called Orocorra oxylon. It's more or less extinct now, but it's sort of back when the dinosaurs were around. This guy was growing, and I'm always looking for some dinosaur scratches or something, but I haven't found any yet. But this is sort of a typical piece of Arizona with the red colors and blues and whatnot, and a big pocket of quartz in there, and a knot. And on a piece like this, it takes about 10 hours to cut it, and 12 hours. And a little bit longer to polish it. And you can see Arizona, just a variety of colors here. There's more knots, nice blue tones to it. And it's about 1.5 inches thick, and I put fiberglass on the back of it to give it strength. You can make a wonderful table out of this. It won't scratch or anything like that. And again, this one has some sort of pinkish colors to it, and that makes for a nice coffee table and whatnot. Nice blood red colors to it, and blues, and contrast. And the same here. This is a typical Arizona piece. It really takes a wonderful shine. And of course, this is very hard. This is actually turned to quartz. So quartz is number 7 on the hardness scale, so you really can't scratch it or anything like that. So it's very utilitarian. You don't have to do any treating to it. You just wipe it with Windex once in a while, and that's about it. And here's kind of a mate to it with some other nice colors. And these trees were living trees 218 million years ago. They say that it's Orocorra oxylon, which is somewhat a relative of the Norfolk Island pine. You know, these are very rare things. You know, most petrified wood isn't much good. It's cracked and has holes in it and doesn't have nice color and whatnot. So the pieces that I have here are really the nicest of the nice. And this is an oak. This is a slice of an oak tree from Oregon. And you know, it has a lot of character to it. And you can kind of see the annual rings, again, kind of like the sequoia. But this is oak, and you can see, you know, kind of interesting knot holes give it a nice flavor. But, you know, you just can't find pieces like this anymore. A lot of this I got from Mr. Zuhl when I bought the business, and you can't go to Oregon and Washington and find this sort of stuff anymore. It's just gone. It's sort of done, and it's really kind of true of the Arizona. They've been mining it for a lot of years, and it's getting very, very difficult to get nice wood. And luckily, over the years, I've collected some nice pieces. Again, you know, here's a Arizona with nice knots and has warm colors. I don't know what color you call that, but you know, it's unusual. And then the typical reds and blue colors that are Arizona. This one here has a kind of an unusual knot to it, and I left that kind of exposed, and it gives it a certain amount of character. You know, when you have a piece of petrified wood in your home, it just gives you, every time you walk into the room, it's a nice feeling to it. At least that's for me, and most of my customers find that. And then over here are more rounds. You know, I cut boards. I cut them. You know, if you have a tree like that, I'll cut it like that, and I call those boards. And you cut it like that, that's rounds. Now, just so we're looking, here's some little pieces, and you know, you look at the beautiful colors that are around, and you can see knots on the outside of it and whatnot, and all of these we put a felt base on them, so if you got to slide them around, it won't scratch your floor. And they are, you know, they are hard and heavy, but there's a felt on the bottom. Just look how pretty that one is. And you know, same with this one here, the beautiful red colors. You know, it's just amazing that nature did this. You know, that they caused this petrification, turn to agate, turn to quartz, and then it turns out to be so beautiful. It's really pretty amazing. Now we'll go over here. This is 54 inches going that way. This is again what they call a Navajo wood, and again about 50 miles east of the Petrified Forest Park in outside of Holbrook, Arizona. This has some calcite inclusions in it, which give it a little bit of interesting color, but very solid, no fractures or anything. It's a nice size. Now we'll go to a really large board. This one is 102 inches long, and just look at the incredible color that there is to that. Just very, very interesting colors. And this is from the Paul Cell Ranch, which is east of the Petrified Forest, and you can't go on there anymore because the government bought that ranch, and so there's no more. Now, I over the years I've made a lot of different kind of bases, and I'm pretty proud of the bases. This is cast bronze here with a little twig-looking thing here, and this is a spruce. I think I only got one log of spruce in all of the years, and I thought it would look nice on that. This is spruce from Washington State, and so there's a couple of end tables over here, and now let me go over there to the Sequoia. This is my factory. It's really not a showroom, but this is the big giant sequoia that we found in Oregon years ago, and you can see the annual rings there. One time I sat with a microscope counted them all out, and it was 817 annual rings. And you can see that there's fungal decay in here that's kind of, makes it kind of interesting. And when you get out here, the rings get really kind of small. But if you follow those rings around, you'll see that it's the interesting part of this thing is that you follow them around and they get wide. And the reason for that is a guy explained to me that at one point, like at this point right here in the tree's life, the tree next to it must have fallen down so that it wasn't shaded, so the sunlight was getting in, and it allowed this to grow more rapidly. So that's a pretty interesting part of history. I would have never. I was really glad the guy told me that, and pretty interesting how that works. Right here is another Arizona piece. Now this is quite large, 99 inches by 56 inches, and make a wonderful table for somebody, and has the nice Arizona colors, and it doesn't have a lot of fractures or holes or anything like that, and pretty proud of my pieces here. It's quite a ordeal to cut and polish these things. We've worked on our cutting and polishing for years to be able to cut these large pieces like this. And here's one 78. This is the largest piece of Arizona ever cut and polished as far as round goes, 78 inches. And you can see that it has the nice Arizona colors and interesting markings to this, and a very solid piece. And this probably took probably 60 hours, I suppose, to cut, and another 60 hours to polish. But it's a lot of time involved in it. But to find a piece like this, I mean, you just don't go out there. You'll never find another piece as large as this. Nice heart to it. And this is another one of the sequoias. And this is the shipping crate that I use. You have to ship them standing up, and it's in this basically a steel encased crate. Now, going back over here, we just polished this one a couple of days ago, and I don't know if the light's very good on it, but a nice Arizona round with a beautiful heart, and it has the wonderful reds that are typical for Arizona. It's completely round and whatnot, and it's 64 inches wide. So that really makes a nice table. Now, the biggest one that I've ever found, the longest that I've ever. I mean, this is Arizona. This is the largest round, but this one here is 13 foot 4 inches long. Again, this is Arizona, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see the whole thing. We had to modify our equipment in order to do this, to fit it in. This is really extreme to be able to cut a piece like this. And gosh, I don't know, 80 hours maybe, 75, 80 hours to cut it, and about the same amount to polish it, and we have a very substantial base underneath it for shipping. It's a whole structural steel base for shipping. And again, you can use this as a table or whatnot. You don't have to worry about it breaking or scratching at all. You just clean it with a rag, and you can just enjoy it forever, just the way it is. And so a lot of these, all of these were found on ranches surrounding the petrified forest. For instance, this one here was found on the Paul Sell Ranch, and it was east of the petrified forest. And since then, about 3 years ago, they bought the government bought the Paul Sell Ranch, so now it's part of the forest. Now on the east side, on the southeast side, is the Milky Ranch, and I'll show you a piece from there. Now, this one over here is 8 feet long, and just to find an 8-foot piece is quite amazing. I call this a pink log, and this was found right next to an old Indian ruins, kind of a famous Indian ruins, and and of course these have some plywood on the base that you can mount to, and this makes for a nice desk and whatnot. But you just don't go around finding logs like this. They're just impossible. They're the good old days are over with, and you're not going to find this sort of stuff ever again. Now, I specialize in petrified wood, but when I was in Oregon getting Sequoia off in the McDonald Ranch, they had the big chunk of jasper, and I couldn't help myself. I had to buy it, and so this is jasper from Oregon, and it's just kind of pretty, interesting veins and whatnot. And it's always just fun to do a little something different. And I guess while we're talking about it, this is a piece of snowflake obsidian that's from Utah, and the largest piece I've ever found. And I bought this chunk off of Mr. Zuhl and cut it up, and then I made a base. The base sort of matches the spots on there, and it's actually cast zinc. So I'm just having fun doing some of this stuff. Here's a few other pieces. I make bases for these out of bronze and wrought iron and whatnot. This has wrought iron on it, and it's a chunk of, beautiful Arizona colors, and kind of a nice size for a table. This one over here, I had a local fellow make this out of cherry and inlay it into cherry. And this is, let me think about where this piece is from. This piece was from the Paul Sell Ranch, and stunning colors, really interesting reds and pinks to it. Real variety of color. Again, that's Arizona, Oricora oxalon, extinct pine. Now, this guy over here is spruce, and that's from Washington State. And it's a nice size. You see a pretty knot there, and that's a piece that I've had for a little while and really enjoy it. And of course, you can see all the annual rings to it. And then a typical Arizona, a nice piece. This is from the Paul Sell Ranch, and you can see that has all kinds of interesting little details to it. You can make little cabochons and make little rings and stuff out, and you just look at this all day long, and it gives you a pleasure. It's a nice size for a table, and then this I collaborated with a local fellow that has a bronze foundry, and I made these bases out of it. Just went out and found some limbs and cut them and took them to him, and he cast these things, and then I fabricated it up and made a base for this quite large and nice petrified wood. Again, very rare to find a piece that's this large. Exceptional pieces don't come along very often, but this is an exceptional piece. First of all, it has lots and lots of knots on it, and it's over 9 feet tall, and it doesn't have fractures or breaks or cracks in it. So we intend to cut this thing right down the middle and open it up so that people can see the incredible beauty of petrified wood. First of all, you can tell that it is a tree because of all of the knots and whatnot, and then to see that it is turned to stone. So this is something that's very instructive, and I think ought to be in a museum where the general public can see it and get the idea of the incredible nature of petrified wood. We're excited about it, and we'll see how it comes out. it's been a great adventure for me, and I'm very proud of my work here, and I hope that other people enjoy it too. That I've got pieces in museums throughout the world and in private homes, and you know, it's just given me great pleasure, and I think that that people throughout, all my customers are very happy. I've never had anybody say, "Oh, do you want to take it back?" They're happy with it. They're happy with what they have. So it's a wonderful thing, and I'm proud of the work and gratified that I had the opportunity to do this. So thank you.